Hi everybody, it's Winters back for another Idle Heroes video, and I'm been emptying my hero slots so that I can do another round of summons, because we're currently still on 1250, and I still need a few more scrolls to get that last 750, so I was thinking about doing an Aspen dungeon run, and some of the guys in my guild were commenting on Aspen Dungeon and saying a few things that weren't exactly wrong, but not exactly the most useful for making their progress. So I thought I'd try and pass on some knowledge, maybe. Since the new Aspen Dungeon update, a lot of the heroes that people used to use aren't really relevant anymore. I know I used to use a 9-star Norma on the old Aspen Dungeon, and it was great because it would get me through like 115, 120 levels without using any potions at all, and then she would probably die to an assassin. But in the new Aspen Dungeon, everything deals a lot more damage, and so Norma just doesn't cut it anymore because she can't heal the damage, and she'll probably die before you even reach the second difficulty, which is normal, because it goes easy, normal, difficult, nightmare, which I think it's the same as the difficulties for the campaign. And yeah, so some of the people were talking about PvE heroes, and Aspen Dungeon got mentioned, and one of our guild leader actually mentioned that Bloodblade was really good for Aspen Dungeon, and a good PvE hero. And I've actually made a Bloodblade, but never used it simply because it just didn't become relevant. And what I mean by that is, once you get through normal difficulty, Bloodblade, again, like Norma, just doesn't have the healing to keep up. And so, at the moment, I would actually say that there's only 3 really relevant heroes for Aspen Dungeon. And they're Sigmund, Vesa, and Gurki. Gurki does have the healing thing going on, and he's not quite enough of a healer to keep up with the damage that he takes. So he can die, but the thing is, because he gets his holy damage boost from getting attacked, he'll often kill off the enemy team before he dies, and then you can potentially use potions on him and such. Whereas Vesa, on the other hand, she just does so much self-healing that she can manage to last through it with her 120% for 6 rounds off her active, and it's 3 rounds off her basic attack. So I don't have Vesa or Gurki. I'm thinking about making a Gurki, and as you can see, I've already made a 6-star. I've actually got another 5 copies of him. So I could easily make a 10-star, but for me, it's more just about the all the 5 stars that it uses to make a 10-star light hero, and wanting to see Faithblade first before I make the decision. So my team for Aspen is primarily around Sigmund, and then what I try to do with my other 4 heroes is use them to battle levels that he struggles against. So I use Sigmund. I used to use Walter, but I'm now using Karmath now that I've got him. Berea, DA, and Asmodel. DA is not exactly ideal because she doesn't quite deal enough burst damage, but usually what she'll do is she'll do enough damage that the level that I'm trying to beat normally with Sigmund just won't hurt as much. And generally what you face with Sigmund in terms of tough levels to get past is the 4 Blood Blades, because they're shadow type, so they do extra damage to Fortress, and he just really struggles with that. But the thing that's really good about Sigmund compared to the other 2 heroes, Vesta and Gurki, is that when you set him up with reduced damage, he can just take so much damage that he can make it most of the way through difficult. See, I've made it to difficult 64, basically just with Sigmund, and you just sort of slowly fill his health back up with your potions. So yeah, as I said, I try and help Sigmund out with my other 4 heroes. So I've got Anti-Ranger on Karmath, I've got Anti-Assassin on Berea, I've just got a damage artifact on Dark Athendal, partly because she has her CC, so that helps out. And I've just got the new Antler artifact on Asmodel, which I'm sort of testing out. In terms of the stuff that I buy from Aspen Dungeon, I obviously go for the best scroll package because it's the cheapest way that you can buy scrolls. 5-star heroes are never worth it. Do not buy them at all. Never. Just stay away from it. Obviously, the medium merchant. She has a different name, but for whatever reason, it's called medium here. Obviously, these scrolls are the same price as the market, so I can buy them too. Now, some of the guides that people put up on the Idle Heroes, like new player help section in the Discord, they show you the percentage differences between these items in the marketplace, and I think on the chips they're 50% worse than buying on the marketplace. And so people go, oh no, don't buy the chips on Aspen Dungeon because they're so much worse. But I will quite happily buy them, and the reason for that is because chips for gems are 30 gems each, but for 20 gems I can buy 500,000 gold, which in Aspen Dungeon terms, that gets me 3 chips, 3 1/3 chips, for 2/3 of the price of 1 chip from gems. So basically, I try to buy all my casino chips with gold if at all possible, and usually I can just about manage that and still manage to do every casino event. Profit orbs are a little bit contentious. some people tell you not to buy them, especially for very new players. I don't always buy them. I certainly always buy them from the senior because they're 10% off. But again, I usually do pretty well in Team Arena and other events, and that's generally how I collect most of my profit orbs. So at the moment I've got over 200, and I exclusively save them for orb events, just because if I can get orbs for free, sorry, if I can get extra rewards for free, I might as well do it. So once again, buying the chips for gold. Promotion stones for gold is also really good. A lot of people struggle with having enough promotion stones, and at this point I should actually probably stop buying them, but I've been doing it for so long it's kind of habit. But I've got 94,000 promotion stones, and I'd say probably about 90% of them comes from me just buying them off this dude in Aspen Dungeon. You can buy arena tokens for gold as well. It's generally pretty good. I don't really need to at the moment because we've just had an arena event and I've still got 400 tokens, so I probably won't at the moment. In terms of sort of like how I handle the matches in Aspen Dungeon, my general goal is to get rid of the angel potions as fast as possible, and what I mean by that is use them early on in the levels when everything doesn't deal too much damage, and you can like safely let your health drop down on your heroes till you can use the potion and get as much value out of it as possible. So this is obviously one of the levels that I was talking about, but when it's just a single Bloodblade versus your Sigmund, you don't struggle with it too much. It's generally down to when there's the 4 of them. So when Bloodblade pops up, I always like click on it just to check whether it's just a single one or 4. So if you look at that there, we dropped from about here to about there, which is probably about 15% of the life. But the thing to note is these early levels are 6-star heroes, and at I think it's about level 7 or level 9 in difficult, they actually change from 6-star heroes to 10-star heroes, and that's really important because all of a sudden these heroes will start dealing a lot more damage. And for this kind of method where you let your health drop down, you don't want to get caught out. Just going, oh yeah, we're probably safe. See, like this for example, I've got a Walter, which is bad for my fortress, and I thought I can probably go again, but then I checked and it's actually Walter and Melassa. So it's probably a little bit risky. I'll check. So it's just kind of lined up with the eye. I'll use a potion, and that puts me to the M. Okay. So if I do that, so I dropped from here to here, which probably would have put me right around about here. So I could have killed that and then used a potion right now, and that would have got like almost perfect value out of it, but to an extent it just wasn't worth the risk. Obviously these healing lineups, they don't do much damage, so I can just quite happily let it run down. This lineup, it deals a reasonable amount of damage. It's not too bad, but at this point it's probably low enough that I can just use my potion. See there, that probably again would have left me with just a smidgen of health left. Now this line up here actually does a surprising amount of damage, and you can't really counter it with any one hero particularly well, because you've got a ranger, an assassin, a priest, and a mage, and I'll show you how much damage it does with these 6-star heroes. So we were about here, so we've lost 10%, and that's off a 6-star hero. Now, if you remember how all of these heroes work, all of these heroes have CC, and all of these heroes get better CC as they go from 6 to 10 star. So you'll see that that probably only took about 10 to maybe 12% HP off, but later on, like I'll push through a couple more levels quickly. I did say that I thought it was about level 9, but it doesn't look like we've transitioned to the 10-star heroes yet. Yep, so this, I know off the top of my head, this is a safe lineup for that much HP. This is obviously not ideal, so I'm just going to go ahead and heal. It's apparently much later than I thought. That did a reasonable amount of damage. That's the main thing that I have to say in terms of like how you manage the actual fights. It's actually check what you're up against. Use something to counter your hard levels with. See, that just killed a 10-star Berea on its own. That seems crazy to me, especially considering he was using an anti-assassin artifact. And once again, these are still the 6-star heroes, so it deals a whole bunch more when they bump up to 10-star. It's possible that they've actually adjusted this, and that's why it's happening much later than I expect. Once we get to this point, I tend not to let my health drift down so much, because I can use a 50% health potion whenever I like. But generally what I try to do with these is that I'll try and use them when I've got a team to verse that has multiple heroes. So at the moment I'm just going to use a normal potion, get a little bit more health back, and just keep going. I'm kind of leaving it a little bit low just in case I come across a another angel potion, because that way I can just use that to heal straight back up with. Whereas in the really late levels, it's just a little bit too risky. So this is a good example of where I can use it. We've got 4 heroes, they all heal, so they can heal the Gurky and deal more damage. But when I actually use the potion and I get the full energy, I deal more damage early on, and I tend to take less damage back from them, so again, uses less potions. That's basically the core theme of this. Just use less potions, but be wise about how you do it. But yeah, for a lot of people out there, the main issue for them is they just want to try and actually even get past normal. Like a lot of my guild is champ, are actually still trying to get past normal, and it's not uncommon, because the reality is, as I said, there's basically 3 main heroes for Aspen Dungeon now. There are a couple of niche examples of heroes that do work, For example, the buffs that they made to Dominator over the past, like 7 of them, have actually made him pretty relevant for the self-healing meta, because as you can see, he now has the CC for the 38% chance to freeze for 2 rounds on top of the 600% heal, which is just crazy. So I know one of my guildmates actually got through normal just off the back of him having a 10-star Dominator. I know another guildmate has gotten almost all the way through normal, basically just off a Lord Balrog, which sort of does the same sort of thing. He's got a really big self-heal. And as I sort of said at the start of the video, Bloodblade is another good example of trying to get through, like a hero to use to try and get through normal. And the reason why I talk about that so much is because most of your rewards nowadays come from the smash, and so if you can get to difficult 1 and beat difficult 1, then you're basically set, because you're going to get sort of like 80% of your rewards just for setting a team and clicking save, and then you'll be able to buy all the options from easy and normal, and like this almost doesn't even matter, but to an extent you do it just so that if you get a really good set of potions, potentially you can push through to Nightmare. I'll probably make a Gurky pretty soon, and at that point I'll realistically actually have a chance at getting to Nightmare, because I won't be using so many potions in the early levels on Sigmund. I'll just tank it with Gurky and his self-healing. I know that's what Pon does. He has a 10-star Gurky that basically does most of his run for him, and then he sort of does a few more levels after that with Vesa. I actually apparently missed it. It's some. Oh no. That's interesting. See how these 6-star symbols? Oh no, that's still a 6-star symbol. See, that was a huge amount of HP that team wiped off, and so you got to be careful for that. This is an all-ranger team, so it's a good opportunity to use my Karmath with his anti-ranger artifact. The fact that he's almost dead, it really doesn't matter to me. It's just a potion that I saved on my Sigmund. So just use them again on any level that doesn't sort of self-heal, and then just send Sigmund back in. I'll probably use another one. Yeah, they must have adjusted this, because it used to be in the first 10 levels that it changed over to 10-star heroes. So I'm really surprised by that, because they didn't put anywhere in the notes that they actually adjusted Aspen dungeon difficulty, as far as I know. I might have missed it. At this point, my normal potions are getting kind of low. So I should probably consider just using them when I get an opportunity. This is a good example of when you can use it against a single target hero, because Sigmund's active does extra damage to a warrior. So this is a good time to use it for even just a single target option. as far as I can tell, they're just not going to go to 10-star. So once again, this is a high damage team. So we should feel back up to almost full. That wasn't too bad. That probably helped out because I had the energy for the active. But yeah, sometimes those teams can be devastating, and I think to an extent I might have just gotten off easily on the CC from the DA. And potentially could have taken a lot more damage if it had gone worse. Not an ideal team. I'll probably use DA. See, it's funny how little of a scratch some of these heroes actually make. Even though they're considered like the best PvE heroes. Oh, sorry, PvP heroes. Haven't done too well with actually getting potions back during the levels. This is another reasonable time to use the energy potion, but I've already got full energy, so I'm just going to go ahead and try and drag it out a little bit further. That was a bit closer than I would have liked. But we are basically running out of potions, so this run's going to end pretty soon. I think my best run, my 64 run, I had about 6 of the angel potions, so it's not all that surprising. I probably will use Asmodel now. Wow, that actually went really well. I'm a little bit surprised at how much better he is at 10-star compared to 9, because he was a 9-star for me only 2 days ago. I would normally buy this, but I obviously don't need it, as I mentioned. I'm going to do a few more of the sort of easier levels with Asmodel if I can, and just try and eke out another potion or two maybe. We'll use Sigmund for this with his counter to warriors. And I think this should be able to make it. Yep. And there we go. That's exactly what I was trying to do. So now I can full heal him up, and I'll probably get another maybe 4 matches out of him even. And just every little bit counts. So that's 3. Probably won't. Oh, just made it. Yeah, so we got 4 more matches out of it, and then another potion. So this is actually not too far off my best run, despite the fact that I didn't get a lot of potions from the smash. So yeah, it just sort of shows that the main sort of things that you want to do once you've got reasonable heroes to use is just manage your potions well and know how much damage you actually take from certain compositions. Anyway, I'm probably going to end this video here since it's now at 29 minutes. And I'll be putting out another summon video pretty soon. Okay, see ya.